Hi guys, welcome to another eBay selling guide. Now it finally happened. I got scammed on eBay. However, I did survive it. So I'm going to use it as a teachable moment to talk about what to do if you are scammed. What happens if it does happen, you still have some form of protection with eBay. So let's get started. Welcome to the Tech Hub. Okay, so I'm not quite sure where to start with this one, so I'll go back to the beginning of it. I was selling a lovely MacBook Air M2 13-inch, 8 gig of RAM with 256 gig hard drive. This is by far the most expensive thing that I was attempting to sell. And I was looking in the region of about £800 for it on my eBay shop. About a week in, I started to accept offers, and somebody messaged me offering me an offer on it. So we negotiated and I agreed at £760. So, however, they did have the proviso that I had to send it next working day by 1 p.m. through Royal Mail. Well, that's actually fine by me because actually I do usually use DPD, but with such a high value item, I wanted to insure it. And the amount of money that DPD wanted to send the item plus the insurance for the value, it was too much. So actually, this is a hidden tip here. If you are looking to sell anything more than £400, I would really consider Royal Mail next day delivery special by 1 p.m. You're covered for up to £750. So I was more than happy to oblige their request. I then sent them the offer on the eBay message, and then they didn't pay straight away. I did tell them, look, I do have a window where I can go to the post office right now, just to hurry them up a bit because I really wanted to hit the post office so I could send it so it would be there the next day. They then responded to me saying that they were going to get their brother to pay. So usually this was the only red flag in my mind at the time. So if it was on Facebook, anybody says that, oh, I'm going to send my brother to pick it up and I'll pay you separately, that's a scam. However, on eBay, I was thinking, well, that's fine. If your brother has an eBay username, get them to message me. I will send them the offer and then they can pay. And that did happen. But before I did send their brother the offer, I checked out their eBay profile and it was 100% feedback. They had bought a couple of things, never sold anything. So yeah, I did all I could there, really. I checked out that username. It was fine. Everything was above board. Eventually they paid, which wasn't an issue. The funds cleared, eBay had the money. So yeah, off I went to the post office as normal, got the next day by 1 p.m. So this is the only thing about selling on eBay I don't like is, well, once you find the right courier, I do calm down, but I constantly watch the tracking of my items. I wanted it to get there, particularly this one. I promised by 1 p.m. the next day, which anyway, eventually the buyer did receive their product. About an hour later, I got a message from them that said the item was faulty. Sent a picture of what looked like the MacBook with a green screen, saying it was faulty and that I had also not enclosed the power cable. Now, this is where I knew something was wrong straight away. The faulty item, I test everything, I photograph it, I show it working. There is a very slim chance with all the electronic devices I send, because they are second hand, that they will go wrong. That's the nature of selling these types of things. And particularly with transportation, however, I knew it was in the original box. I bubble wrapped it, so it was very unlikely it would become faulty. But where the buyer went wrong is saying I hadn't included the power cable. I know for a fact the power cable was in there because before I packaged it, I took the laptop out because it wasn't sitting in properly. I had to re-spool the power cable so it would lie flat and then the laptop went on it. So this is when I knew something was up. I asked them to send me a picture of the serial number just to prove it was authentic. And then they didn't respond. That is the only message I ever got from the buyer. I then, on further evidence of their photos of the device being faulty, something wasn't quite right. There was a slight mark on the laptop that I was selling that I had listed and described, very little mark. However, that mark wasn't showing on their photos of the faulty device, as well as there was a little mark next to the trackpad on the one that I sold, and that wasn't there either. So I was calling into dispute the authenticity of their claim that it wasn't faulty. However, when it comes to returns, as soon as someone has requested it, you may as well just do it. Even if you know you are in the right, just let them return it. It's best that you get the device back to then be able to resell it. Now, I am a bit of a worrier, so I did have a couple of nights of sleepless nights. However, they did end up, so I accepted the return. They get sent a shipping label from Royal Mail. So it took them a couple of days, but they did return it. However, this was the next time I knew something was up. So even though I'd sent it into central London for their delivery, they shipped it from Peterborough, which is quite a ways from London. Anyway, the day came that the device was being returned to me. I then got a notification it had been delivered. Nothing was delivered. Straight on the phone to Royal Mail, I said, look, I'm waiting for this. It's told me it's delivered. I'm here. Nobody's come. I checked the Ring doorbell, and it was around about the time that our poster usually comes anyway. So the person on the phone was like, oh, this is odd. Looking at, because I was trying to confirm where it had been sent to make sure the address was right. He said, oh, when I look at that, nothing is coming up at all. So we're going to have to investigate this, but that can take up to 3 working days. I believe this was a Friday, so that meant it was going to be kind of by the Tuesday, Wednesday of the next week I would hear anything. However, with a eBay return, once it says it's delivered, you have 3 days to contest it, or give them the refund, or say no, partial refund if something isn't returned as it was. So of course I was worried with that timeline. Next thing you know, our postie does arrive. Luckily, she's very kind and she did some digging for me. And it turns out that the whatever they had sent with that shipping label had ended up in the business in the town I'm in, the industrial estate. She told me which business it was. So I went to that business, explained my story, and they give me this white envelope. The address of the business on it, same tracking number that was with the return label that I had purchased and given to them to return it to me. And what was inside? Scrumpled up piece of paper. Can you work out what the scam is yet? So the scam is when you get shipped, when you receive a return label, this is a PDF. All they did was change the address. Because what happens on the system then, it shows up as delivered. I then have to get evidence that it has not been delivered, to prevent eBay from stepping in on the 3rd day for them to make the decision if they refund or not. So of course, I have my evidence. I'd already spoken to eBay about this issue and they said all I had to do was get either an email from Royal Mail stating it had been delivered to a different address and not mine. However, I had one better. I had the physical evidence that it happened. Luckily, whilst talking to eBay about this issue and my suspicions, they looked at the buyer's account and there seemed to be, now I don't know for sure because they couldn't tell me, but there was definitely history of this happening. So they I believe they used the term abuse of the return policy. So that was enough for eBay to suspect this person. They had now suspended their account, so they weren't able to receive their refund, and I survived the scam. So let's talk about what seller protection there is. It often seems with eBay, and the way it should be, that the buyer has a lot of protection, okay? Even if people say no returns in their description, if you receive something that is not as described, you can return it. There is eBay buyer protection. Now, of course, I didn't really know about what seller protection they have. And they're on everybody's side. Basically, when you ask to escalate to eBay, they will then make a decision based on the evidence. So To cover your back with anything like this, number one, before I ship anything, I take a photo of it. You know my listings by now. I've shown you how I list my items. I photograph everything, including that power cable that they claimed was not there. I have photographic evidence, but also photographic evidence of the parcel that I'm sending to show the condition. Other things you can do, make sure you get on the phone to eBay as soon as you have a suspicion about something. I believe when they first messaged me about the return, I called eBay straight away. I showed them the evidence that I had submitted to show it wasn't even the same device. And there we go. And it turns out the buyer who was trying the scam had actually blocked me as soon as they had sent that return request. So they wouldn't get any of my messages anyway. So I believe that's why eBay kind of suspected them straight away. And like the person said on the phone, if the power cable was missing, you wouldn't return it. You would just say, okay, either send me a power cable or refund me the difference of a power cable. It's not logical to do that. In my case, I potentially had to evidence that what they had returned was not correct. Now, I was lucky that I knew where this had gone. Okay, you might not be that fortunate. However, get on the phone to Royal Mail. Now, it does take a while to get through to Royal Mail. I've had to phone them both as a seller and a buyer. Patience, it takes about 20 minutes to get through to them, but you need to speak to them. All you need from them is for them to confirm that they have not, that wherever the item was delivered to was not the address or my address. If they tell you verbally on the phone, get them to send you an email, because then eBay needs that evidence, so that if this buyer wasn't suspicious to eBay, it would have stopped them, because I could have evidenced that the address was changed, nothing was returned to me. So I guess to summarize, to protect yourself, get on the phone to eBay. If you go to help and contact and then contact, it takes a while to get through their chatbot, but once you've highlighted the order you want to discuss with eBay, just type in speak to a person, and then your options come up to either chat to a representative or have them phone you. That can be a bit frustrating sometimes, but like I said, once you have selected, you need to select the order you need first, so they know what to talk to you about, and then just type in speak to person, and then the chatbot stops and you can get to speak to a real person. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my story, and I hope you can use it as a teachable moment, that if you are selling stuff on eBay, unfortunately there are scammers about, and this is what to do under those circumstances to protect yourself. Have you ever been scammed? Have you prevented a scam? Have you actually been scammed? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like my video and subscribe to me. You can follow me on Instagram and Threads at TechHubWilts UK. I'll see you on the next one.